Florida Man has become a meme on its own in years. People do songs about it, like BOC. And they're putting together the Florida, not the Olympics, but they're putting together what they're calling the Florida Man Games. They're calling it the most insane athletic showdown on earth. Now, my question is, do you have to be living in Florida to compete? It'd be fun to go down there. We should send Poundcake down to go compete in the Florida Man Games.
You just told us yesterday he's not very competitive, though.
This might be a way to do it. You get a gator chasing him, he's going to get competitive right away.
Is there any meth smoking events?
I don't know.
Or do you get tested, and if you're not on meth, you can't compete?
You have to eat bath salts, and then you have to eat somebody's face within 10 minutes. Whoever does it the fastest, you win. The games will poke fun, obviously, at Florida's reputation for all the weirdo stories, guns and drugs and booze and reptiles. And, so it's going to happen in February down in St. Augustine. They're doing the evading arrest obstacle course. Contestants will jump over fences and through yards while being chased by real cops. And, a lot of those Florida cops, they're jacked. I remember when I moved from Chicago to L.A., how different the police are. Because Chicago cops, there's young guys, but there's a lot of stereotypical Dennis Franz-looking Chicago cops. It is the Midwest, after all. They're not putting these guys through the paces. But L.A. cops, boy, I mean, this is early 90s, so it was like Rodney King was in the air, the whole bit. Those L.A. cops are like young, jacked dudes who are looking to kick ass. And I don't know if it's still that way. Not sure why it would change, but there's something in the air, something in the water. And I think a lot of Florida cops like that too. So they'll have the evading arrest obstacle course. They're going to have the Category 5 cash grab, which is where they put him in one of those booths, one of those wind cyclone booths.
Love those.
Poking fun, obviously, at the storms that come through Florida.
Question.
But that's not really a Florida man thing. That's a weather thing. Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't mean to derail you. I just was curious. I know you said you lived in L.A. years and years ago. Did you like living in L.A.?
I did. It was more of a culture shock than I had anticipated.
Why did you move back?
I had to make a decision as to what I wanted to do with the remainder of my life, and it would not have been in my best interest to stay out there.
Okay.
So, you know what? It ultimately wasn't going to be for me.
Fair enough. Okay. It's just curious.
Might be for you, though.
Because
you might end up out there. If this New York thing doesn't happen. Have you sent anything off yet?
No, it'll be by the end of the week. It will be.
By the end of the, tomorrow's the end of the week.
Okay, well, I consider the end of the week. So I want to have the weekend, and I have a wedding this weekend. I have a wedding Saturday.
Your MC wedding's on Saturday?
Yeah. So
okay.
Hopefully Sunday.
Where do you have to go for that?
I'm out in Hudson.
Oh, pardon me.
Is that a bougie area?
Hudson's very affluent,
bougie,
yes.
I mean, I know
Hoity and toity.
I mean, I know people from Hudson. It's nice. I didn't think it was
Hudson's
one
of those places where you have to have, like, if you have a McDonald's, it's got to look the certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one in Independence, like the fancy-ass McDonald's in Independence.
Yeah.
You just have a regular-ass McDonald's. You got to make it all bougie.
I know
that's how Hudson is.
I know a bunch of people from Hudson because that's, like, right up the road from Akron. And so, I mean, I didn't...
Oh, we had a handful of people that we used to work with here that lived in Hudson. Bo Matthews used to live in Hudson.
Mm-hmm.
A couple salespeople lived in Hudson. It's like, wow, that sales game treating you nicely.
I still can't get over one of our sales guys lived in Gates Mills. I was like, you are one of like 500 people that lives in Gates Mills. Like, that's essentially the Bel Air.
Yeah, but you never know anybody's story either. There's people who have like
You're not gonna have the one bedroom house.
No, I know, but I'm just saying I've known people along the way where I'm like, they look like they barely shower and they're in like massive. I go, what is going on? And somebody will go, it's family money, and I'll go,
okay, that's fair.
You never know somebody's story, so there's a lot of people who are kicking it on family money.
But randomly, like when I was growing up. Whenever someone said they lived in Westlake, I had a cousin that lived in Westlake, and I I know if it were me, I would take a lot of pride. Like, I'm from Westlake, because everyone where I lived, everyone who was rich lived in Westlake, Avon Lake, and that was pretty much it. Growing up in Lorain County, you were either in Westlake or Avon Lake, and that's where all the rich people lived. But now that I'm here, I'm like, oh, there's so many people in the burbs. Like, if you say a Beechwood, a Gates Mill, an Orange, all these.
Yeah, but you could also, I know status.
It's a reaction.
I know status is a huge thing to you, and so it's probably behooves you. You can look at like median income by zip code. You can tell, if somebody goes, oh, we live in Pepper Pike, or Gates Mills is a great example because it's like those.
It's a township.
Well, they're like not even incorporated. You know what I mean? It's just like practically a large gated community. Like
the rich people make the rules there. They're like, we want to delegate this day for trash day. We want the police to patrol here, and we're gonna pay off-duty cops to do it. So you don't have like an actual. Gates Mills probably has what, like Chagrin Falls police?
I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything. I know it's synonymous with affluence. But again, I know we joke about it here, but I'm not rich, but I live in Bay Village. When we first moved there, because we had been living in the city, and Gwen was like, look, if we're going to have a kid, which we had determined we were going to, I don't want to live in the city anymore. And she had friends. We didn't know anything about anything. She had friends who lived in Bay Village, had grown up there, had left, had come back, loved it. People she worked with. So she goes, I'd like to look at Bay Village. I go, okay. So when we moved out there, people would be like, where do you live? I'd say Bay Village. They go, oh.
Because there are certain cities that
that's fine, but I'm like, there's plenty of people out where I live that aren't in hospital-sized houses, and we're one of them.
Where I grew up.
I couldn't feel more out of place out there.
If I were to say Oberlin, it gets a reaction. Not from affluence. It's just like, oh, you're from Oberlin. Like, they immediately have
what's
a
the
perception.
problem? But what's the problem with Oberlin?
Hippy-dippy,
super
liberal, college.
Well, what's the matter with that?
Just from people that's not them. Like, Oberlin is sequestered because it's all, you either got hood or corn around you. You got Wellington to the south.
Is there any hood corn?
Probably somewhere in the middle. You got hood up towards Elyria, Lorain, and then you got corn, LaGrange, Wellington, and Grafton.
But I bet everybody gets along, don't they?
No.
Really?
It's very segregated.
Yeah, but I mean, everybody's so close, you'd think that they would be like, look, man, we're all hanging out.
Oberlin was the beacon on the hill because it was very diverse, because we would get open enrollment in our school. So we would get people from Lorain and Elyria.
Yeah, but that's all because of the college. I'm talking about people who live in adjacent communities who are probably very different. There's gonna be bleed over. I mean, there's gonna be people
hang. Though, because
really?
None of them were really big. Wellington.
What's the dividing? What's the highway? What's the dividing line?
So
what's the demarcation line?
The town I grew up in, Oberlin, has 58. 58 goes all the way up to Lorain and down to Wellington, all the way into like Polk. So
what I'm saying is, you got Hill Rods on one side, and you said you got Hood on the other.
Between is Amherst.
That's what I'm saying, Amherst. You're telling me nobody crosses the road? Of course they do.
No,
people are hanging out.
It wasn't because
you know how white kids love the hood. Too.
The perception of it was, Lorain kids didn't want to go to Oberlin because they looked at Oberlin as, lack of a better term, weak school. Oh, you go to Oberlin, you must be a pussy, something like that. Like, so Lorain kids didn't want to go to Oberlin. Oberlin damn sure did not want to go to Lorain or Elyria. And so Wellington.
Right, but I'm just saying every area has rich and poor people in it. Now, the ratio might be different, but there's rich people in Vermilion. There's rich people in Oberlin. There's rich people. I mean,
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Oberlin was different because we had the college, and there was college professors, there were doctors, and then we had a little bit of like income. I don't know what you call it, income-driven kids, where it was like the Oberlin's version of sex.
Like Newsies?
What is
yeah?
What is
like
income-driven?
They were
chimney sweeps.
They were lower income, but they weren't poor. Like we were lower middle class.
Yeah.
Like we were middle class, but we were on the poor level of middle class. And then there were some people that were like poor that like had welfare or Section 8. And they still lived pretty good because no place in Oberlin was like dangerous. You weren't going to get like robbed or at gunpoint or anything like that. Other cities, that's not the case. Like my mom was like, I am not, as expensive as Oberlin is to live in, I am not going to move and have you go to a different school. You're not going to go to a different school system. No way. No way. I grew up here. She's not going to put me in Elyria. She wasn't going to put me in Lorraine. My dad lived in Amherst, so maybe I could have gone to Amherst, but I think she just was set on staying in Oberlin.
Yeah, I don't know that area that well. I mean, I'll get out to Amherst a couple times a year just to grab some snoogles at Kodrowski's Bakery. And that's about the extent of my knowledge of that area. But it just stands to reason that you're going to have some bleed. You're going to have some people hanging out on the other side. Or you're going to know people who do.
I mean, there were kids that came.
You want to hide in the corn, have some fun out there. You know?
Yeah, I mean, the whole reason why I went to vocational high school was to expand my horizons. Like,
And did you?
No.
Yeah, I had kids that, before I went to JVS, I didn't have
Bill,
friends.
if you give him the answers, how will he know?
The only friends I made that were outside of the city before I went to JVS were from country skate land. I would get kids from Wellington and LaGrange, and I would have friends that way because it was a social gathering of like the three cities. But that was it. Before I had a car, I didn't go outside of the city.
Yeah. Lots of kids go to Lorraine to hang at the beaches after dark, somebody said. I don't know what that means, but.
I don't go hang out there after dark.
I mean, listen, on the way back from Kelly's Island, we took the scenic route along the lake, and we drove through Vermilion, and I had never been in Vermilion before, and it was delightful. That's Lorain County.
Half of it.
Huh?
Half of Vermilion is in Lorain County.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you know, it looked like tons of boats on that little canal there. So, I mean, there's plenty of people with money in Vermilion.
It's not Westlake or Avon Lake money.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
There are some nice, like, I don't think there's any gated communities like in Amherst, but there's like nice developments. Like there's like new money in Amherst. Like Amherst is a nice place to live.
But who wants a gated community? You know, people can climb over the gate, right? Like if somebody's going to do something, they're going to do
Poundcake
something.
loves the idea of a gated community.
I don't
the
know
idea of
why.
keeping people out,
But
it's
what,
a
of keeping people out?
He's all about status, and for someone that has no status, he's very obsessed with it.
I like the idea of it. So what? So you're not going to have a window in your car because someone could eventually
Knock it out?
break it? Yeah.
But it's why. But isn't it why? That's the mindset that he's got, and he's not alone. He's probably less weird than we are because that's that mindset that keeps people doing things like playing the lottery. Everybody thinks they're gonna hit it big, and that's what he thinks. He's like, right now I'm on this side of the gate, but I'm gonna be on that side of the gate.
Don't tax rich people. I'm going to be one soon.
That's right. So, but the gated community, those are gates to keep people like you out.
I know. And I love that.
And he's like, and I can't wait to be on the other
I
side.
love that. Don't change the rules. Don't disrupt. Follow the rules and maybe you'll be on the end.
Do you honestly feel like you want to be better than people?
Not be better, just do better.
What's the difference?
No, you don't want to do better because you don't work in a way that makes you want to do better.
Maybe that's me being smart.
You're not grinding it out.
Yeah.
Everyone works hard. If you want to stand out, why don't you be great?
Let's ease off the throttle. Not everybody works hard.
Everyone who wants to be someone works hard.
Are you one of those people?
No, because I'm trying to stand out.
Well, I'm confused. What? I'm confused.
If you're
not most
So
people.
what would make you a good member of the Breakfast Club? I'm going to stand out because I'm not going to work hard.
And I'm just going to be
A
great
lot of people
naturally.
don't. A lot of people don't work hard. How is that going to make you stand out?
I'm saying after you get to a certain level, everyone is
What
going
level?
to work hard. I don't know. After you get to a certain level, everyone's going to work hard. Working hard is the bare minimum. So what are you going to do to stand out after you work hard?
Work harder.
Mm.
Oh, that's a bridge too far for you? He's like, no, I'm not going to work harder.
He doesn't even want to work hard.
You never let it. You're right. You got to. Nobody can out hustle you. That's what you want.
That's a lot.
It is a lot, but that's how you get where you got to get or where you want to get. That's how you're setting yourself
Eventually,
apart.
Someone's going to out hustle you.
Not if you out hustle them.
But then someone's going to out hustle you. Like, it's just like.
How? Plenty of people are going to go, I'm out. You get older and your priorities change. I work just as hard now as I did when I was 21 years old. And that ain't going to change. Because everybody around me better know. If I'm married, I got kids, you better know. Because this is what pays for everything. So, bow down. That's what it is. There ain't going to be no slacking off. Because you're right. That's what my dad told me when I was a kid. Never let anybody out hustle you, ever. So when I had a job I didn't like, I'm scraping the dough off the floor at the grocery store bakery. I'm working my ass off. I'm waiting tables, working my ass off, working hard. Because you never want anybody looking at.
And all that.
I did the Alzheimer's walk at the zoo on Saturday morning and met a lot of people who were fans of the show. It was great to talk to a bunch of people. There were a handful of iHeart people there, but there were so many people that I didn't see them. So it was me and Jeremiah from KISS who walked together. And when it was over and we left on the way home, I thought, you know what would be fun? I'll surprise my daughter with donuts, right? Little treat. It was still early. It was a Saturday morning. And so I go out of my way, and I'm going to surprise my daughter with some donuts. And the place I went to, and I won't name names, okay? But it rhymes with Schmunkin' Schmonuts. And I'm standing there, and I go, you know what I'll do? I'm a smart guy. I'll make my order on the app. That's what they tell you to do, right? Hey, order on the app. Walk right in and grab it. Cool. Order on the app. I have plenty of time to get there. I get there, nothing on the counter, nothing on the shelf. That's a Saturday morning. They're slammed. I get it. Nothing on the shelf. So I stand there for a few minutes. Nothing. Okay. So I ask somebody. She goes, you got to go over there to where the girl is behind the counter and the donuts. Okay. So I go and I stand in line. For 25 minutes, I'm in line. Nobody's moving. And the girl behind the counter could not be less interested. The woman is moving like molasses, doing other things. There's one guy in front of me, and I was in line for 25 minutes. Wow. And there are people behind me. The woman behind me is like on her phone complaining to somebody.
Did you tip?
I never got to the counter. I basically donated $15 to them because I had already bought everything on the app. I finally stood there. I go, man, F this. And I walked out. I get that those kinds of jobs are tedious. We've all worked retail. Those kinds of jobs are tedious and whatever. But man, you're doing that job. You gotta hustle, man. Hustle. You got a line of people. Huh?
She gets paid the same.
Well, okay, right. Well,
she's getting paid garbage.
That's I don't know what they're getting paid. Every place now is like, I don't know that. Every place has a sign. We'll pay you $18 an hour. No wonder people's heads explode when they see that. I think those people should make as much as they possibly can because, again, nobody's getting rich doing those jobs. But that woman is the counterpoint. That woman is Exhibit A for all those people that go, why the hell should those people get whatever? There's people working skilled jobs that don't make $18 an hour. So, again, that's just a little side rant here that I'm just reminding myself of now. But, man, hustle. Why do anything where you say, I swear to God, this girl was she's walking, but she could not have been
hungover.
She could not have been less interested. And the guy in front of me, it's like, God bless this guy in front of me, old guy. She's like, she's putting stickers on coffee cups or something. And he's like, that's okay. I got time. He was being nice. He really was. And if I had been at the front of line, I might have been nice too. But being second in line for 25 minutes, I'm like, I got a life to lead, man. I got to get the hell out of here. It's not like my daughter knew I was there. I was doing it like as a little treat, a little surprise. So she was none the wiser. But it's just, that to me is like a snapshot of people. They're not going anywhere. And I don't know what their aspirations are. So when you talk about like, I'm going to stand out by working less, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I know you've got some kind of rationale in your brain for that, but I don't know what you mean.
I don't really know either. I'm just pulling your leg.
He likes to get you fired up.
Your little Dunkin' Donuts rant.
Well, whatever.
Well, you know.
Listen, it didn't
you know
change.
how those people are on Bay? They go out and
Just
get
so
their
moody.
Dunkin' Donuts.
It wasn't in Bay.
Right, but you're from Bay.
I'm not from Bay.
You're
From
that's
Bay
where
I
you
live
live.
in Bay Village.
That's where you live, Bay Village. And then you go,
Bavalage.
and then you go slumming it to Dunkin' Donuts, and you're like, I demand my donuts now. And they're like, well, we're sorry, we don't have enough people. And you're like, fine, I'm leaving. I'll never.
I
send
didn't even
product."
get close enough to demand anything. I was there to pick up what I had already ordered. You know, it's like I wasn't one of those people that gets to the counter and goes, let's see, like you've been in line and you.
Like the Brian Regan donut bit. You have 4 donuts remaining.
Yeah. I got a break here. Hey, you want Cavs tickets? You know, they won the season opener, the home opener tomorrow night. Warriors are going to be in town. The Warriors of Golden State. Perhaps you've heard of them. It's going to be a week from Sunday at the Romo Fijo. Get you a couple of tickets after the break.
It's the Alan Cox Show.
On our free iHeartRadio app and